Unit 4, Section 3. Today we're going to be talking about writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So first off, parallel lines are two lines that will never intersect. In other words, their slopes are always going to be equal to each other. Perpendicular lines, however, are two lines that intersect to form right angles, and those slopes are going to be opposite reciprocals. Let me give you an example. 1/2 is positive, and it is 1 over 2. Well, the reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2 over 1, and if it's opposite, then it's going to be negative. So 1/2 and negative 2 over 1 are opposite reciprocals. Likewise, 4/7 and negative 7/4 are also opposite reciprocals. All right, let's jump into some examples today. Lots of examples that we're going to be running through. So here we go. Determine which lines are parallel and explain. So in example A, they give you the graph, and it's best to just count our rise over our run in this case. So for this first one, if we go from the point -4, 3 to 1, 2, I'm going to come down 1 and run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my line A here has a slope of -1/5. B, I go from -3, 0 to 1, -1. So I'm going to come down 1 and run to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So B has a slope of -1/4. And then finally for C, I'm going to come down 1 and run to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So C also has a slope of -1/5. So my two lines that are parallel would be line A is parallel to line C. Maybe you remember this parallel notation from geometry. All right, let's try example B. Now we have a line passes through -5, 3 and -6, -1. We need to use our slope formula. So let's talk about line A as the slope of 3 minus -1 over -5 minus -6. All right, and this is going to give us 4 over a positive 1. So my slope of line A is 4. Now let's calculate the slope of line B. All right, we're going to do our change in our y value. -2 minus -7 divided by 3 minus 2. All right, when we do that, minus a negative becomes plus a positive. -2 plus 7 is going to be 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. So the slope of line B is 5. Now let's calculate the slope of line C. Again, taking the difference in my y values, 1 minus 13 over -2 minus 1. And this gives me -12 over -3. And that's going to simplify to 4 over 1, or just 4. So I can see here that line A is also parallel to line C in our second example as well. All right, moving on down to example 2, we want to write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form that passes through the given point and is parallel to the line that's given. All right, so we want to write something in slope-intercept form, but we're going to be given a point and we're going to be given a line that it's parallel to. All right, so let's take a look here at example A. For number 2, it's going to pass through this point here of 5, -4, and it's got to be parallel to my line with the equation y equals 2x plus 3. Well, I know from this line here that my slope is 2. And if it's parallel, then the slope of my new line has to also be 2. All right, so if I have a slope and I have the point 5, -4, I'm actually going to put this into point slope form. So y minus y1, which is -4, is equal to slope of 2 times x minus x1. Now, I want to get my equation ultimately down into slope-intercept form. So I need to simplify this. This is y plus 4 is equal to 2x. I'm going to distribute this 2 minus 10. Finally, I'm going to subtract 4 over to the right-hand side, and I get my equation y equals 2x minus 14. And here is the equation of the line. That is, oh, that kind of blocks that out a little bit there. Yeah, maybe you can see it. That is the equation of my line. that is parallel to the line y equals 2x plus 3, and it passes through the point 5, negative 4. All right, pause the video right now, and you try example B following the work that we just did over here in example A. All right, let's check your work. Did you get the equation y equals negative 2x minus 3? If so, great job. You found the line that is parallel to the line y equals negative 2x minus 5 and passes through the point 0, negative 3. All right, moving on to example 3, we want to determine which lines are parallel or perpendicular. So keep in mind, parallel lines will have similar slopes, or the same slope I should say, and perpendicular lines will have opposite reciprocal slopes. All right, let's calculate our slope here through the point negative 2, 1 and 0, 3. Finding our slope, we've got 3 minus 1 over 0 minus the negative 2. That's going to give me 2 over 2, and therefore my slope of line A is 1. Let's see if I calculated that right. 3 minus 1 is 2, and 0 minus negative 2, yep, that's 2. So my slope of line A is 1. Let's find line B. I have 4 minus 1 divided by 6 minus 4. That's going to give me 3 over 2. So the slope of line B is 3 over 2. Now let's calculate the slope of line C. We have 3 minus 1 divided by 1 minus 4. That's going to give me 2 over negative 3. All right, so that gives me negative 2/3. Well, looking at these three lines, I see that there are no two lines that have the same slope. So no lines are parallel. However, I do see line B and line C have opposite reciprocals. Line B has a slope of 3/2, and line C has a slope of negative 2/3. These are opposite reciprocals. So I'm going to say line B is perpendicular to line C. And the reason why is because their slopes are opposite reciprocals to each other. All right, let's examine example number 4. We're doing the same thing here, determine which lines are parallel and which are perpendicular. So let's take a look at example A. They give us the equation y equals 4x plus 2. Well, right away, this is in slope-intercept form, so I can tell the slope of line A is 4. Now, for example, line B, I do not have this in slope-intercept form, so I want to manipulate it to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract over my x. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So the equation now for line B, I'm going to write it down here, should be y equals negative 1/4 x plus 3/4. Now it's negative 1/4 x because I have to divide this negative x by 4, and I also have to divide the 3 by 4. All right, so the slope of line B is negative 1/4. Finally, let's find the slope of line C. I can tell that it's not in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to have to move some things across the equal sign. So we'll come down here and do our work. We're going to start by adding over the 2x, and I get negative 8y equals 2x plus 16. Now I got to divide both sides by negative 8. That gives me the equation y equals negative 1/4. I simplified negative 2/8. Negative 1/4 x plus 16 over negative 8 is a negative 2. All right, so the slope of line C is negative 1/4. Now, if you didn't follow some of that algebra, feel free to rewind the video and watch that over again. But I have two lines that are parallel, and I've got a couple of pairs of lines that are perpendicular. You tell me which lines are parallel and which ones are perpendicular. All right, for our last example for today, we're going to write an equation of a line that passes through the given point, and this time is perpendicular to the given line. All right, so I see that it passes through the point negative 3, 1, and it has to be perpendicular to 1/2 x plus 3. So the slope of this line, y equals 1/2 x plus 3, is 1/2. You want to ask yourself, what is the opposite reciprocal of 1/2? Well, this is positive 1/2, so I know my new slope, or the slope of the line that's perpendicular to it, has to be negative, and the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1. Well, 2/1 is just 2. So the slope of my perpendicular line has to be -2, and it has to pass through the point -3, 1. So again, I'm going to use my point slope form, which says y minus y1 is equal to my slope of -2 times x minus x1. And that would be a -3, so I'm going to write it as x plus 3. All right, I'm going to write this in slope-intercept form, which means I'm going to simplify it by distributing my -2 into the parentheses and adding over my 1. I get y minus 1 is equal to -2x minus 6. Add 1 to both sides, and I get my y equals -2x minus 5. And there's the equation of a line that is perpendicular to the given line, and it passes through the point -3, 1. Go ahead, pause the video, and you attempt letter B, find the line, find the equation of a line that's perpendicular to -3x minus 1 and passes through the point -3, 5.